Okay, hi everyone, my name is Isabela Cantillo and this is the Ipa Alphabet. First, these are the monotones and vowel. Okay, first, E, for example, sheep. E, for example, C. U, for example, book. U, for example, food. E, for example, men. Chocolate. For example, word. O, for example, for. Cat. For example, log. For example, star. For example, sock. E, for example, clear. For example, beer. For example, sure. Ow, for example, out. O, for example, phone. A, for example, rain. I, for example, light. Oi, for example, boy. And now these are the consonants. Okay, first p, for example, pen. F, for example, fly. T, for example, top. For example, thin. Sh, for example, short. For example, sock. For example, chicken. For example, kite. For example, bed. For example, ferry. For example, dog. For example, mother. For example, chef. For example, zebra. For example, television. For example, go. For example, hat. For example, man. For example, nose. For example, ring. For example, rose. For example, lemon. For example, watch. Yeah. For example, yesterday.